And Mikel, you're right. Arsenal are there because they go to Manchester City on Sunday. Joint top with Liverpool on 64 points. Manchester City in third, trail them by a single point. It's between those three for the title. You have to think Arsenal or Liverpool or Manchester City. And now it's Manchester City against Arsenal on Sunday, and one man who eagerly awaits it, as we all do. But Arsenal invincible Martin Keown looking ahead to this with great relish. So Martin, quite simply, from an Arsenal point of view, is it do or die for their title hopes on Sunday?
I think if they can win it, I think it sets them up, Jim, into a fantastic situation. I think that, more importantly, that we now have our Arsenal back again, if you're an Arsenal fan. So this is the Arsenal now. Not just Arsenal, it's the Arsenal. Always was it a club striving for excellence. If you know the history of the football club and how it all is, remember who you are, where you are, and who you represent. And I think they're doing that very well right now. This is now, obviously, an incredible challenge. You're going to Man City. What was it, 5 trophies last time round? If I just widen it a little bit and I just look at Team England, back in our day when we were rivaling Manchester United, there were 7 Arsenal players on the pitch that played against England, against France, just 7 days before a really important game back for the 98 when they won the treble. And stupidly, we were all playing in it and the Manchester United players all pulled out. Nowadays, I think it's commendable that City had so many players that were involved. And I hope it's not expensive for them because they did it in the right spirit. But you're not going to be, at the end of your career, defined by 2 friendlies in March. You're going to be defined with what you win in your football career. And there's a massive opportunity, huge prizes for both sets of players. Both in the Champions League could meet again, couldn't they, in the semi-final, if that happens.
Yeah.
So this is a game now where I think it was telling in the first game of the season when Arsenal beat them 1-0 and you didn't have Rodri, you didn't have De Bruyne, and Gundogan was not long left the building. And I think they didn't really look like they had the magic. He's going to want Stones and he's going to want Walker. It's key to their plan. The way that Stones steps into midfield and then De Bruyne then goes and arrives with the front player because Haaland, if you think back to when Man City won this game so convincingly last season, Jim. Yeah. It was De Bruyne joining Haaland that did that. So we're in for a massive spectacle. As an Arsenal former player, I think the fight's there. I think we are now in the fight again, Jim. It's watching Arsenal, the goalkeepers faced the fewest amount of shots this season. These things, being top of class in number of goals scored, and the goals conceded, it tells you a story. Now they've just got to go and get the right result.
Yeah, of course.
It's there in front of them.
I mean, the 2 players you mentioned of City there, Kyle Walker and John Stones, serious doubts after they missed training yesterday. So Pep might have to go in without them. But here's the thing, victory for Arteta and Arsenal would take them 4 clear of City. Would that be it?
No. You're joking, Jim. They've got 9 other... There's 9 other bottles hanging on the wall. Do you know, like you've just got, one by one, you just got to hope that you get over those fences. It's difficult.
What makes you think Arsenal can go there and win on Sunday? What makes you think? I know you want it.
Because of what I've seen so far this season. I think the way that they found solutions. It's interesting that all we see now in the papers again today is about Arsenal needing a striker. Well, they've done pretty well, damn well without it, haven't they, Jim? In those 8 games that they just won. It's incredible the amount of goals that they're scoring, and that's worth another point to them. So they're very much in this fight. But I think for them to be champions, they're going to have to win every single game between now and the end of the season, which would mean 18 victories on the bounce. It's that big. They've won 8 so far, another 10 to win, Jim.
I mean, to be honest, Simon, Martin's got a decent point about the striker issue. I mean, Kai Havertz has 4 goals in his last 4 games, as well as 2 assists.
That time.
I mean, well... But you could argue that, he's gone some way to joining the party and silencing the doubters.
Yeah, the question is, I mean, ultimately Arsenal have beaten Liverpool in the recent run. So this question may not be as pertinent as I'd like it to be. But when it comes to the business end of games, yes, you can beat Palace 5-0. You can beat other sides around you that have had bad days on the afternoon, like West Ham 6-0, and score lots of goals in games. When it comes to unlocking the best opposition in the division, which might separate you from winning the league and not winning the league, I think the question will still reverberate about Arsenal having a top quality striker that can do that in really tight games, in really difficult moments. They were brilliant against Newcastle as a side, and I do believe that if Arsenal were to go to the Etihad and win against Man City, the momentum that they would gain from that would be so significant that I wouldn't put it past them from that point of view to go and win the league there on afterwards.
Oh, there you go. So if they win on Sunday, they win the league.
I think
You're inclined to think.
I'm inclined to believe that the momentum it will give them, the belief it will give them, and the signalling to everyone else, if indeed other dressing rooms watch it, which Martin says they do, then I would be suggesting that Arsenal are telling you now, but if they go to the Etihad after the run of form they've been on, and they beat Man City at the Etihad, this is a very significant Arsenal side at the business end of a season that are not doing what they did last year.
Yeah.
That are now capable of overcoming adversity. And I think it's going to be a great game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal went to win at Man City, despite the record of very few people beating Man City, the last team being Brentford 2 years ago at the Etihad. They're in good nick, Arsenal. Really good nick.
I mean, Arsenal have beaten City, Liverpool and United in the league this season already, Martin, as you know.
But I think it's significant.
All of those were at the
Emirates.
Emirates.
I think back in the day when we went to Old Trafford and we won, you ended up with a trophy at the end of the season. The 2 seasons there, when we did a double, we did it in '98, we did it in 2002, of course, and we won the league on that day. I think, Jim, just to broaden it out a little bit and just say, okay, I'm all for looking at the game in front of you, but Spurs, interestingly, play all 3 teams. And I think they've only got to go away to Liverpool. And maybe that may be where the significance lies. Arsenal as well have to go to Manchester United. And I just, with the history and the way it is, I think that Arsenal have got 4 or 5 tricky games.
If you go and win these sort of games against Manchester City, that everyone, including me, has
Crumbles
got in a
around
box seat, I think it changes the direction of travel in people's mindsets, and I don't think they worry about who they play next.
No, you still got to go and do it. You still got to go and do it. You go into that tunnel where you just have to.
But the history of it won't make any difference because you're playing Man United team that you're playing against now does not bear any resemblance to the Man United team.
The recent history helps Arsenal because they've been in this sort of territory just this time last year, and it didn't work out for them. But now they know the expectations.
Am I right, Martin, in thinking? All right. From your point of view, Martin, as a former Arsenal player, and it's in your blood, mate, an Arsenal win. The likelihood is City will win it. Is that not the case?
Sorry, so if Arsenal win the game...
The likelihood is City will do it.
Well, they are the favourite. They're the team that I backed to win the league at the beginning of the season because, Jim, Sheffield United could hardly get on the pitch when they paraded all their trophies recently at the start of this year. There's so many trophies that they've won. This Pep is unbelievable, but Arsenal now got the new man on the block, haven't we? And he's not just a pretender anymore. He is he's showing for the second year running that Arsenal can go the distance.
Yeah.
So, is he the next successor? I think he's a man all on his own, and I think now he's made some really big calls. I think he's ready for this game.
All right.
Look, they're friends, but at the end of the day, that will stay to one side, and he I don't want to sound like Kevin Keegan, but I think Arsenal would love it, wouldn't they?
So separate heart and head.
City this weekend.
Don't give me it from an Arsenal invincible point of view.
I think they're capable of doing it.
What's the outcome?
I think Arsenal can win it. I don't see any problems for them. I'll tell you, if Stones doesn't make it and Walker doesn't make it, that leaves them vulnerable at the back for counter-attacks, and it means their structure in midfield changes. But City they always find a way to win. So in this period, it's tough, but I think Arsenal are capable of doing it.
And you go with Simon. If they do, the likelihood is that would give them such momentum they'd win it.
No, I don't, because there's an awful long way to go after that. You've got to play Villa, you've got to play Spurs, and you've got to go to Manchester United. None of those games are easy for Arsenal.
But winning the Premier League isn't easy. It's not meant to be easy.
Of course.
But if you go win games at this time in the season against the team tipped to win the league, against the blueprint in terms of what everyone is saying is, look, there it is, there's the winners there.
Yeah, but it's about staying healthy.
Yeah.
This time last year, Arsenal lost Saliba. He didn't play the last 11 games of the season.
You can't bake into...
I'm looking at the latest odds, Simon. 11 to 10 on City to win.
I'm sure it is because conventional wisdom tells you that they will.
Yeah.
But I think this Arsenal side at this moment in time...
Everyone has to stay fit.
Fear no one.
When they took Saliba out, it was like taking the plug out the bath last season. They can't afford him to be not there. And Declan Rice has been quite magnificent in the 6 or the 8, the way that he gets forward.
He's started every
Jorginho,
game,
let's not underestimate Jorginho since he's come in. He was playing in that first game of the season against Man City as well.
Yeah.
And I assume he's going to play in this one.
All right, Arsenal fans, I will briefly throw it out there. If you want to come to air with us on this Good Friday, then why not? Because we're in the company of Arsenal Invincible Martin Keown. 03717 223344. What do you think? Arsenal, well capable of going to the Etihad on Sunday and winning, are they, in your eyes? And if they do, like Simon, do you think that could be it? They then go on and win the league. A bit to go, but they then go on and springboard themselves into a position that can get them winning this league title. Do you agree? 03717 223344 81089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.